books by, Steve Jobs. This was maybe, 2012 to, 2014. So, like, they were being called accidental billionaires. So, like, who's this Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook became worth $1 billion. Then you had Ivan Spiegel with Snapchat. Then you had Airbnb. So everyone was like, damn, I really want to be part of this new tech thing. So it's like, let me just jump out now, because much later on, it will be very hard to change careers. So I quit my job. Of course, my mom was like super unhappy. And we were like, with my classmate, we decided we'll just start Chapter. This is now 2020. And we knew we'd be millionaires in 6 months, of course. Taking way longer than that. But we started Chapter. Chapter now assists businesses to be able to leverage AI to improve customer experience. So you can be able to get an AI agent trapped on your WhatsApp, on your Instagram, and you can be able to just answer customer queries and assist businesses to check out their customers on these platforms. So far, we have about 1,000 merchants on our platform.
Oh, wow.
And we're live in Kenya, South Africa, and Nigeria. So
that's really amazing, bro. And because I can see you're very young, obviously, and you're the forefront of this whole technological revolution. But let's talk about the industry in itself. They call Kenya a hub, man. It's a hub for some of the latest trends. Back now, I think the University of Nairobi have opened up what's this thing called the Silicon Valley something? I heard the president talking about it yesterday. So what are some of the latest? Let me say, I don't like the word trendy, but let me just put it out there for context purposes. Trendiest innovations right now in the market that has impressed you?
Wow.
Good question.
Good question. That's fairly hard. But I'd say the most impressive one now is just AI. I'd say AI and what AI can do. So I'd say what people know as AI now is mostly from ChatGPT. So you can go to ChatGPT, you can ask questions, it can help you pass your exams, it can help you just, increase your productivity, respond to emails. But what has sort of evolved in the past few weeks is there's a business called Anthropic from the US, which is able to link these AI models with your computer. So you can actually have, you see, now you go to ChatGPT and type something, so you can actually tell your computer, so go to my email, send this email. After that, go to my Photos app, edit this email and do this. Go to my calendar and do this. So you can start to see the beginning of controlling a device remotely. Right, so you can start control. So of course, right now it's very early, but you can start seeing. I can actually say, okay, in this show, play this song after this, play this song after this, play this song after this, and maybe you're seated at home, and your computer is in your office.
And they're using my technology.
Jeez, man.
So that's really, really impressive, and it's very easy to use. You can even just go right now and test it. It's in beta, but there's a lot of opportunities and possibilities. I think, like you were saying, controlling.
I know, man. So, for example, that one that you just mentioned, that innovation, bro. So, when everything is said and done, when it's finally settled and it's advanced, you guys, it's going to make us very lazy. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to think. Just give it an order.
It's true. Actually, it's true. I think
is that a bad thing or a good thing?
I'd say this super smart, powerful people think it's a good thing. So Elon Musk and Sam Altman have been pushing this agenda for we could get to a time where we have universal basic income. So all the jobs that are bad, people hate doing, maybe you won't need to do them. They can be done by machines. So this means we can get to a point where everyone in the world is productive enough and you don't really have to work if you don't want to. So you can just be getting some income. So you really just work on the things you love. So I think it's very utopian. It's like if AI ended up working out very, very well, but of course there's the other side, which many businesses now are trying to make sure we don't end up on the bad side. But I think there's opportunity for maybe in 50 years, you don't really have to work to make an income. A lot of the work that's being done now, like cleaning, can be automated by bots, and things like customer support, labor can be automated by AI agents. So it means maybe there can be some sort of universal basic income.
So let me take you back to where you said you did architecture and then you're reading all these books about technology coming up. So what opportunities did you see in Africa for you to start moving into the technology world?
Yeah, good question. I think for Africa, I think there's just, I don't know, it's like the true land of opportunity. I think maybe people don't see it now because of what situation currently, but what I was seeing was say the US and the West, maybe they're like 25 to 30 years ahead. Almost everything is figured out, right? Like if it's cars have gone electric, if it's even just simple things like window designs, I could see this in architecture, they're way ahead. So you can just see there's a lot of opportunity here because Africa hasn't reached there yet. And if you're smart enough, you'll know Africa will reach there soon, and you want to be the guy who's built that solution. Because if you don't, someone else will build it. So even if you think of, this Airbnb in the States, if I can just build an Airbnb for Africa, what would that look like?
I know, man.
There are many guys who did that and ended up building very large companies. So there's a company called Stripe that just assists people to accept payments online. And right now it's worth like $50 billion. So Flutterwave and Paystack just said we're going to build Stripe for Africa, right? It's just assisting Africans to accept payments online. And they've become like billion-dollar businesses. So I think just looking at where things are going, where things have gotten in the West, you can just see opportunities to apply that here, and those can end up being very large businesses.
Yeah. What are you noticing happening, like with all this technology that's coming up now, probably the consumers purchasing, how are they doing this, the behavior? What are the trends or something that you're noticing that's really happening with people, especially who are, purchasing stuff online?
Yeah, I think big shift. I think when I walked in, I saw you have Twitter on there. So
it's called X.
X. So one thing we've noticed, people would spend. So the internet was formed, 1999, and then that's when people were able to have websites, etc. So you'd go to like Amazon.com, you'd go to Facebook.com, all these things, right? So, and then in the 2010s, social media came out. So one of the trends that's happened over the past 10 years is people spend more time on social media compared to any other platforms. Right. So like SpiceFM, SpiceFM.co.ke.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So like you'd find, if you look at the visits on that website versus the visits on your Instagram, your Twitter, your YouTube, you'd find those ones are much higher. So like we can say something like maybe 80% of internet usage is on social media platforms. So how this is interesting for businesses, it means in 2013, it was important to have a website. Now it's more important to have a social media profile because most of your customers spend their time there. So that's where they'll discover what products and services you're offering, and if they have a problem, they'll probably ask it in that platform. So as a business, you need to make sure you just take advantage of that and even activate it as a sales channel. So how can people now purchase something from my Twitter, from my Instagram, from my WhatsApp, from my YouTube? So that's why even many of these companies are trying to integrate payments. Instagram Shop, there's WhatsApp Shop. Elon Musk and X, they're trying to launch payments on Twitter because they believe if you're spending 6 hours on Twitter every day, then you should actually just even be buying things from Twitter.
I remember back in the day, bro, Kwanzaa, for some of us who got into business early, coming up with a website was such a big deal. You spend so much money in getting the right web developer. I needed like such and such. Now you need to have a dope social media strategy. Times has changed. But when you look at MSMEs, for example, in the 254, are we embracing all this, technological disruptions for business? Vilinafa, guys are kidogo late.
I think there's some adoption there. Especially on platforms like WhatsApp. So currently, 95% of internet users in Kenya are on WhatsApp. So 95% of people who can access the internet have a WhatsApp enabled device. So I think they are embracing it. We've seen many times, people are sharing payment details on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
It's very easy to forward. You're added on so many groups and being asked to contribute. So at a micro level, I think it's happening. What I think needs to be unlocked is it's not happening in a very structured way. So you need someone to be constantly manning that WhatsApp to make sure they respond to every order. Or many businesses don't foresee how WhatsApp can be used for business, because WhatsApp it's more for personal use, like peer-to-peer. So there's a lot of room to grow. Just an example, in India, WhatsApp usage is also very high. So the services like you can order an Uber on WhatsApp, everything. So if you imagine that journey, you just go to the Uber channel, you say, you drop your PIN, the guy says he's coming, you just watch that route, and that entire journey can be on WhatsApp. So I think that's the next level. Maybe many businesses don't know, is that you can also use WhatsApp for business in a business way with more features as opposed to the peer-to-peer, like personal way that people use it now.
Yeah.
I actually saw something earlier this week, and just because you're talking about WhatsApp, and it was on the Money Academy page. It was saying WhatsApp Web is experiencing a global outage, with users reporting issues connecting to servers and sending or receiving messages. The disruption, which began earlier this week on Monday, is affecting both personal and business users worldwide. So I'm just curious, like, how safe is WhatsApp, especially for business? I know they normally say end-to-end encrypted. I'm not, is it really safe to have these financial things on a WhatsApp platform? Business forwards, click on this link, make a payment, such a thing.
Yeah, it is. WhatsApp is really safe, and the way businesses, Meta has really worked to make sure that businesses use it in the right way. One platform that was sort of like what WhatsApp is now a few years ago was email and SMS, and of course email and SMS became very, very spammy, right? So they even spam tags now, and SMS, people are so desensitized they don't have a look. But because Facebook is really reliant on actual people using WhatsApp, they protect it more than email. You see, email didn't have a custodian, and SMS didn't have a custodian. So WhatsApp is under Facebook. So Facebook is doing a lot to just make sure that it doesn't have those security breaches. It doesn't become spammy. It doesn't become a place where, as a consumer, at the end of the day, I don't want to go there because there's like 60 businesses messaging me and stuff. So I think that kind of helps WhatsApp stay relevant.
So there's something interesting I learned. So I'm not a techie like these guys. So I don't know what type of technology this is, but it uses predictive analysis. For example, a supermarket. If you're constantly shopping at at a specific supermarket, they can almost predict your moves in the next, say, for example, 6 months. And then because of that, maybe it's a particular season, they're going to fill up their shelves with a particular product. As the world continues to become very advanced, how can, I guess, businesses create this type of shopping experiences for their customers, and what type of technology is this, man, where you can actually predict that, during summertime, maybe we're going to have, women from this area be, expectant. Many of them are going to be expectant. And so we need to have more cribs in the supermarket, many more baby products. I was reading about stuff like that. So what type of technology is this, man? And how can I, include it in my business?
I think that's a good question. I'd say number one is digitizing your business. I'd say there's two phases of this. So number one, you need to digitize the business. So the challenge we have here is in, let me say, 30 years from 2000 to 2010 to 20, so it's 25 years. In 25 years, we've moved from, you can have a website online, and now you can have an AI agent, right? So you might find here in Africa, there are people who are not at the website level yet. Maybe they don't even have websites as a small business, right? So for you to really benefit on what you're talking about, like product recommendations, and all this predictive analysis, you need to have a lot of data.
Okay.
So if you have a website in the first place, I'd say that's step one. Then you're able to log that this person bought this on this certain day. You're able to log that these products are moving the fastest this time of the year. You're able to log that, these consumers are between this and this age, things like that, right? So it's much easier to apply predictive analysis to that, which now AI is very good at.
Okay.
But you see, if you don't have the foundational layer of data, which is you can just get from a website, like you just have a website, you can know the visits, when it spikes, all these things.
So you can notice a pattern.
Exactly.
So the AI capability notices a pattern, and they'll know this type of people usually is okay. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even if you go to Instagram now, if you check your professional dashboard for insights, it will tell you, like your users are like 50% male, 50% all these things. So if you now have that data, you can now easily apply predictive analysis on it.
Okay. Let's go back to before COVID 2020. The technology, we weren't adopting as fast as we were. And then 2020 came, and then we all became techies. And now we're moving where people are looking to put technology into their businesses. How fast do you think Kenya is actually adapting towards that?
Well, I think Kenya is actually surprisingly not surprisingly, it's one of the fastest. My theory here is, I don't know if it's from our colonial days, but we tend to adopt things from the West very fast compared to other African countries. So I'd say the rate of adoption in Kenya is very, very high. We have a very engaged and enlightened audience. Even I think on Twitter you always see like Kenyans always, even the documentary you're telling me about.
The one for 60 minutes.
Yes. So Kenyans are always at the forefront in terms of adopting new technology. And I think it just comes from, it's a nation where the people are very empowered to look for solutions that will just make their lives a little bit easier. I'd say many Kenyans, perhaps the enlightened ones, don't lean on the government so much, so they're very quick to adopt new technologies that can just help them do better. So I'd say Kenya, compared to other economies, it's doing much better. We've been live just a chapter in Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa, and you've seen the uptake of tech just to be a bit faster here in Kenya, even sometimes compared to Nigeria. But in South Africa, it's a bit more advanced, but you can see it's almost at the same level in terms of adoption with Kenya.
So what would you tell the listener who's trying to get into adopting technology into their business, but they're not sure how to use it, they're not sure where to put it?
Yeah, I think for this person, I'd say, I won't say go online because that's really bad advice, but I'd say the in this digital age, like, it's very important to have like a digital heartbeat, right? Like before, like a mall, if you run a store and you're in a mall, you'd only depend on the footfall, all the guys who come to the mall and see that physical, brick and mortar store. But now you can even not have a store and still be a big business. So I'd say invest in your digital footprint. So just create an Instagram, create a Facebook. Of course, you're for sure on WhatsApp. Create a website. You'll find just you're more discoverable. People need to know you exist. So just having a website, having an Instagram, having a Facebook, you're already better than like 80% of the competition.
Wow.
And then from there, just keep on investing in how you don't want to get sales or to get business from only people you know. A business is only sustainable if it can get sales from, customers or, people you didn't know, more than your friends and family. So you can only achieve that if you're truly digital. And it's not that hard. You can just begin with your Instagram, your Facebook, and a website.
Mark, if you listen to the news these days, I'm in different quarters in the country, they talk about how there isn't enough opportunity for Kenyan youth. Jobs. But at the same time, the president is talking about us embracing tech and how there's a bunch of opportunities in the tech space. So in terms of skills, there's somebody who's just about to graduate from Form 4. They just graduated off of uni. What are some of those skills, tech skills, that if he learns right now, he's guaranteed to get some kind of job, or at least, start a dope business in that e-commerce space?
I see. I think good question. I'd say if you're hungry enough, anything can be learned. Because coming from I did architecture, and actually, my co-founder and I, we taught ourselves how to code, right? So every day for like 8 hours, we just watch coding videos on Udemy. It was hard.
8 hours, my guy.
8 hours a day.
Get it how you live.
So I'd say, if you're leaving high school now, I'd say one of the most important skills is software development. Just from our conversation before this, we were talking about how AI is the future, how machines are the future. So if you're able to learn how to control these machines, how to control computers, that's one of the best skills you can have. Because not only can you control these machines, these computers, you can be able to create a business out of it. So I'd say something around software engineering, something around computer science is a very, very important skill. And, not everyone can become a software developer. So I think there's still a lot of merit in just understanding how business works. And this is something which, in my short career, I've seen many people usually don't get it. But just understanding from first principles, what's the business of something? Mm-hmm. So if I'm running a shoe store, maybe I'm getting these shoes from China for like 1,000 shillings. I ship them here for 500. I'll do marketing for 200 shillings, and I'll sell them at 3,000. Then I make the margin. So just understanding that is so critical, and everything has a business. So if it's SpiceFM, there's a way SpiceFM the business works. There's a way it makes money. If it's advertising, if it's events, there's a way that particular thing makes money. So I think also investing in, when you were young, we were told don't do BCom, that it's saturated. But I think as I get older, you start realizing, the skills in business are like extremely important.
But these tech skills in some of our traditional institutions, these universities, are they good enough? I mean, I was just thinking about how you were self-taught when it comes to coding. But there's somebody out here in these universities, then they're studying coding. Is that enough for them, Mama? They have to, when they're out, they have to constantly learn, get online, get all those Google certifications. If you have to keep on refining your skills, what's the quality like of our certifications when it comes to some of these tech courses?
Yeah, I see. I think from the last time I was in school, it was quite poor. I think from the national universities. There's a friend of mine, he's at Facebook now. He's telling me they were doing...
He works at Facebook?
He works at Facebook
Dope.
now. So he's telling me first year, second year, they'd write, code in C+ and Python on like sheets of paper. So it's pretty crazy. You have to show like how the code will work in text. So I think it's pretty poor. Maybe it has improved, but what has sort of like come up to fill that gap has been this sort of like bridge courses. I think Moringa, ALX, Moringa, ALX, there's PLP. There are a couple that are coming up that you can take advantage of, and those ones are really good. Some like PLP are actually free. So they'll be able to perhaps they're able to get some grants so they can fund a certain number of students. And if you get a really good job, you can also pay them just like pay as you go, just to cover the tuition. So I think the barrier to entry is very low. But I think one of the best ways to learn is to also learn through a project, right? Especially if you're really young. So if you're 20, so just say, I'll teach myself to code. I'm still in school, but I'll try and make something like, a chatbot for Spice, something like that. Yeah. Even if it fails, it's fine, but at least you're building in the real world.
Exactly.
And I find that's one of the best ways to learn.
I wanted to find out, like, How do you envision, the future? Let's go to like online shopping. Guys are now just doing things on phone. How do you envision the future of online shopping, especially with the progress of AI, this VR, AR? How do you think it's gonna be? Just whatever crazy scenario that you have in your head.
Wow, I think the future of online shopping is going to be a lot more conversational than it is now. Reason why I'm saying this is shopping is a bit conversational in nature. Like if you go to, especially in Africa, where we tend to talk a lot more. So if you go to the market, you'll have the conversation with the lady and you're buying those bananas. If you go to the mall, so you're buying something from LC or Mr. Price, you'll find when you have an attendant next to you, you might be able to make better purchase decisions. Actually, your basket size can increase by 40%. So I'll tell you, this jacket goes well with this shirt. So someone will likely increase
That's amazing.
what they're going to purchase. But then the online infrastructure now does not support that. So how it is now is you go to a website, there's no one you're talking to really, and then you just put things in your cart and you go and check out. So how I envision the future would be is it will be a lot more conversational. So maybe JP, you can have, you just go to like a chat at night. You're like, okay, so what new cool sunglasses did you find for me today? Then it shows you, I found this for you. I checked like a couple of sites. Do you want to make an order? You just say yes.
That's what's
Or
up.
before you leave for work, you say, I'm looking for these things. My friends are coming over next week. Look for them for me, and then here's my credit card limits. If they make sense, just make a purchase. So I think that's
That's brilliant.
that's the future. Already there's a company called Perplexity that's built something a bit similar. I think the early stages of that. So you can be able to shop on chat. So on chat, so you can just say, I'm looking for a gift for my sister for Christmas, and it gives you some options. You describe your sister, maybe you can upload their Instagram profile. It tells you what
she would desire.
like, and then
Bro, you get that
be
that's
able to
amazing
buy.
because I personally don't know some gifts to get my girlfriend during certain seasons like Valentine's. I'm just like, oh my god, bro, that would really help.
Perplexity. is
I'm up for
crazy.
guys don't even have style. Okay, don't
How can
I've actually seen something like that for supermarkets where you don't know what to cook, so it just
Yeah.
gives you whole recipes and it tells you,
Oh.
let's put these things in your basket.
Yeah.
And then it's like, do you want it delivered? So by the time it comes home, you already
Yeah.
know, okay, this is the recipe, this is everything, just cook it.
And then Elon has finished his Optimus Prime robots.
Yeah,
So your robot just cooks them at home.
yeah, the iRobots, isn't it?
Yeah, the iRobots,
There's an
So you
iRobot,
just
there's an
have to-
iCar, iTaxi.
Yo, guys, I don't know what we're gonna. What are we gonna do?
You come
Spot
back home,
only.
your robot has done everything for you.
I know,
And then there's a
bruh.
robot that came and snitched and poisoned that guy. You don't
By
know
the
what
way-
you're eating.
By the way, Mark.
Yeah.
Wait, if you look at our Gava, you get it's the very. I feel like some of the main agenda is the tech revolution. They're very big in that conversation, but are they doing enough to create a space for young guys who are getting into this whole technological, especially
Industry.
this transformational phase for businesses? Are they making it easy for young guys? Because they're big on that rhetoric, see, tutafanya, da, 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 da. But when it comes to the infrastructure, when it comes to the spaces, when it comes to, even internet accessibility, are we on the right trajectory?
Gosh, it's a hard question. I think, it's a hard question. I'd say, I think they can do more. I think one of the best things government can do, even more than the handouts, is just really creating an enabling environment, which I
Exactly.
think it's not the most enabled the environment we're in. So just having internet access be readily available, things like making Kenya a very good place to do business. I think now it's extremely difficult. So even if a young person were to find a way to learn how to build with tech and start a business, it's actually very hard for a business to be sustainable for the first 2 to 3
What are some of the
years.
barriers? Why is it so hard? What, for example, what's the biggest challenge that you've seen guys experiencing?
In business, I'd say number one is the market. I'd say Kenya is it's a big market. I'd say controversial, but I'd say like Kenya can be sort of like, you can say there's Kenya and there's Nairobi.
Very true.
Right? So the
So
Nairobi
sad.
as a market is big, right? Like there's many potential customers, there's people listening to us right now, there's things like, if I was to come up with a new pair of sunglasses, there's people I can sell to. For example, in Nairobi, it will really work. But if you look at Kenya in total, the rest of Kenya is still very behind, right? If you go to some of those remote towns, Wajir, Moyale, you're like, man, is this person's experience and someone who's in Nairobi is very different. So I think a lot can be done to just expand or bring other cities, other regions in the country to a level to like where Nairobi is, or maybe even where Nairobi was 5 years ago. And then we can start seeing a real difference. But if there's the market in Kenya is maybe like just like 4 million to 5 million people.
Yeah.
The other 45 to 50 million is really, there's still a lot that needs to be done there.
Yeah. And that's an opportunity.
If you look at the old government, they used to do things to empower people to get into the technology space. Like they would give schools laptops so they can start learning. It's not there with this government, but I've seen some schools have actually started implementing stuff like that, where they teach kids how to code from primary all the way to high school. So do you think this is something that should be implemented in more schools, so that by the time they get to high school, they're already good?
I think so. I think education is one of the best things you can do, because one person who breaks out can like really take care of the entire community, right? So by teaching these tools, how can you be able to code? How can you be able to become a proficient software developer? It means even by the time someone is 22, 23, because the thing with like developing software, there's experience, but then it's not, say, like medicine. You can be young and be really, really good. So it means by the time people are 24, they can already be contributing back to the community. So I do agree such initiatives would really benefit.
All right. JP?
I had a question that I had written down somewhere, and I can't seem to find it.
Yeah.
But basically, I just wanted to understand how safe are some of these platforms when it comes to the delivery? I know there's so many issues that are happening. Apart from WhatsApp, is the customer information safe? Is the customer data safe? Do these goods arrive on time? What is the experience that people are actually having? And like, how has it really influenced customer expectations?
I see. I'd say one of the reasons why e-commerce penetration is not as high right now is because of some of the things you're mentioning.
Yeah.
So you're not sure if I order from this guy on Instagram,
is it gonna come?
Is it going to come? And also you see on many Instagram profiles, many people are like, pay fast for delivery.
True.
Because also for the business, you don't want to deliver, and then someone says they don't want it. So you've already borne the delivery cost, and they've refused to pay. You've borne the delivery cost and the price of that item. So I think that's a big barrier, the safety, but I'd say that's an issue now because the market is still young.
Yeah.
So you're still getting used to e-commerce and people ordering online, but the platforms themselves are very safe. So if you, for instance, pay through WhatsApp, at least you can say there's a proof of payment there. So if there's ever to be a context, you can actually say, I did pay you.
Yeah.
Right? So
Some proof.
leaning on these platforms more will actually help people, just both parties protect themselves. So both the consumer and the business. But I still think there's a lot that needs to be done. There are many companies already doing it. So there's like escrow accounts. So I can be able to make a payment, but it's only released to the merchant after I've received
the payment.
after I've received
funds.
the good. After I've received the good,
Then that's when the finance can
reach the merchant. So solutions like that are being done, and also some of the companies that are powering this are building a brand that is trustworthy. Like Jumia, for example.
Yeah.
They've done a lot to make us understand e-commerce, because before, I think people would always insist on payment on delivery. But now you find people are even ordering like TVs, couches, all these things. You have some customers like Victoria Home Store. People can buy things worth 200,000 shillings online. They pay 20,000 shillings online, and the thing comes after like 24 hours. So I think we're definitely getting a bit better.
Okay. Would you say there are any other challenges apart from that skepticism that clients can have, like me? I'm not sure if it'll come. What are some of the other challenges that you guys are experiencing in this whole, setup that is not really pushing your company ahead? Or
I see, a good question. I'd say one of the biggest challenges just customer education, and this is a big challenge for us because many businesses don't know exactly what they can be able to do with these platforms, right? So it happens in many emerging markets where you have to educate the market as you sort of like create value for them. So you can imagine if it's radio in 1960, we are telling guys to listen to it. So it's like they're wondering, what is this? Why should I listen to it? So it's like you have those teething problems of you have to educate the market for them to see the value, then you provide them with the value. If it was in more advanced markets, you usually don't have this problem. But then you find in those markets, there's already many players and it's very competitive. So in this market, you have the benefit of the few players, but then the market is not educated yet on the benefits. So you have to do that hard work. We do it through webinars. So we do webinars, we teach people. We do it through events. You go to events, you showcase this is what we can be able to do, so that the market just starts understanding, okay, there's this new thing, let me go and try it for my business.
So for your business, what's your biggest expense?
Biggest expenses are actually people. So building good software is not cheap. There's very few people who can be able to deliver that quality, which is why what you're saying was a good idea. If many people can start getting trained earlier, then there can be more a high caliber of software engineers that can be adopted into these companies. But for now, there's very, very few good engineers, good software developers. And then we have, this multinationals setting up in Kenya, the Googles and the Microsofts. So the existing pool of few good people are being pulled away into these large companies with very competitive budgets. So it makes it very hard to scale quickly.
As a co-founder of a business, and I see we're about to wrap up. How do you stay sharp, man? How do you, how do you constantly learn? How do you know some of the latest innovations that you can use to improve on your business?
Yeah, I think a good question. I think number one is reading. I think it's still the oldest playbook, but reading really helps. Every year there's a few good books that come out. So like this year, the book by on Elon Musk. That's one area where you can be able to get a lot of insights. There's certain books from like Steve Jobs. And then there's just books that have stayed for a long time, like books from the 80s, like High Output Management by Andy Grove. He's the former CEO of Intel. It's a book from like the 1980s. Okay. But you find that knowledge is still relevant now.
Yeah.
And if reading a book is, because of course now because of TikTok, the attention span is shorter. So you don't want to spend like so much time reading. Not you don't want to, but it's a bit difficult. There's podcasts. So podcasts are a really good way to learn, and it really feels like you're having a conversation with someone. And it's really grown in the past 5 years. So you can sort of like find a podcast with any hero you look up to and learn from them.
So you're always consuming knowledge, eh?
Exactly. Even on the drive here.
Yeah, you were actually reading. Oh, you listened to a podcast?
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. In this conversation, you've mentioned Elon Musk a lot. And I retweeted this thing, by the way. I re-X'd it. So they say scientists at Princeton University have reconstructed this 3D model of how Adam, the first human being created by God, might have looked like. And that's his face. You get Adam actually look like Elon Musk, man. What the hell? Okay, guys, all these techies usually treat Elon Musk like they're Jesus.
I like the picture of Elon Musk looking like a black person. So kindly just change the color.
Oh, well.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Mark, I know Steph got a question for you.
Yeah. So, as a co-founder of a tech business, what are some of those key skills that you'd say are needed when you're joining this firm, when you're joining this industry, especially to those ones who just graduated?
Okay. As a co-founder,
like some of the things that you would look for when you're hiring people. To those ones who just graduated.
I see. I see. That's a good
That's when you
question.
go A minor.
Yes.
Nalienda mangu.
I'd say some of the skills, I'd say two things we really look at. So there's competence and attitude. So competence, this is a bit easy to measure. So you can just look at, okay, what grades did you get? Which school did you attend? What projects have you done? Then we can be able to see, like, okay, how competent is this person? But I think the most important, as a co-founder, I've seen is attitude.
Yeah.
Because you might find you can see someone is very competent and they're 19 and they have a really good attitude. So you find this person, by the time they're like 23, they'll be very, very, very far because they have that hunger to keep on learning and to keep on getting better. Conversely, you might find someone who is very competent but bad attitude. So you're wondering on LinkedIn, why are they changing jobs every 6 months and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think competence, like, just make sure you're good at your craft. Like you've done the hours.
Yeah.
And you have that hunger to keep on getting better. But I'd say attitude is far more valuable.
Yeah.
Because it means you can keep on pushing and you don't lean on your competence all the time. You can admit when you don't know something and you can go ahead and learn.
So what about those ones that are shifting from one industry to another, like you did from architecture to technology? What would you advise them?
I'd advise I think just make that jump. One quote I read during that time, because it's a difficult transition. I think when I was switching, I uninstalled all the softwares for architecture. Wow. I said, even if you give me a building to design like One Africa, I wouldn't take it because I believe this is a new direction. So I'd say just trust the process. I know people say that many times. But one inspiring thing I read was it only takes 6 months literally to change your life. Like if you decide to pick up anything and you give yourself six months and you commit yourself to it, you'll actually can literally change your life.
Yeah.
So just give yourself those 6 months. It will be rough, but you'll thank yourself later for it. And I think also for those guys who are considering switching, just look at your life on a sort of like 10-year horizon. If you look at it on a short,
I like that.
Yeah, like a short time span, like 2 years, 3 years, like you'll be a bit disappointed. But if you look at it from like a 10-year horizon, you can make a better decision. And if you zoom out, maybe you're 20, you can see you probably have like 7-10 years to go, like that's 70 years. So you can question, okay, should I really be doing this? Maybe it doesn't matter, let me just switch.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
All right, so let's take you down memory lane. Back when you were, in your 20s, early 20s, this is, high school time.
Maybe he is in early 20s. Steph, you never know these days.
No, we said memory lane. Not the other day.
You can't be assuming everyone is above 30.
This is why I said, high school days.
Exactly.
Back then.
These days, the people who've come over here and I'm like, this guy probably is like 32. Could is 22.
Yeah, they need to
these days you never know.
They need to believe in their IDs at the checkpoint. 16. No, go back home.
I told you about that guy who was talking politics over here. And then I thought he was like 36. I thought he was like my age or whatever. This guy told me he's 26.
Yeah.
I was just there quiet. I'm like, Sawa, you take it away, bro.
Yeah.
Gen Z vibes. Anyway, proceed.
But yes, back in memory lane times, back then, what was that song for you that just, made your day? Whenever you're having a hard day, a cool day, you just put it on, you just start jamming, you start dancing. when the code isn't doing its thing.
I see. Oh my gosh, yeah, those days.
I know back in the day it was like 2018.
Yeah, back in the day, it was 2020.
JP.
You just never know.
You just never know. You never know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Take your time, bro.
Yeah, but I'd say around that time, I'm a big house fan. I'm a big Afro house fan.
See what I'm talking about?
So Black Coffee.
Black Coffee is really good.
Yeah, I think I must have listened to all his sets.
Yeah.
Used to have this.
I have Black
Coffee radio.
Wow. Yes, I remember that.
So like 1 hour sets on Apple
Yes.
Music. So I used to listen to a lot of those ones. And then we were not counting hours, so we would just count how many times you've listened to it. So if you listen to it 4 times, that's 4 hours.
I'm going to play for you some Black Coffee, by the way, bro.
Yeah.
And David Guetta and featuring Delilah. It's called Drive. Side question. First of all, JP, our generation
Yeah.
is the last generation, literally, that experienced life pre-internet. I hope you understand that.
True.
What is that like?
It sinks in.
Isn't it?
It was amazing.
It was, bro, the golden era.
It was a golden era.
My question for you, Mark. You Kidogo experienced the golden era?
Yeah,
Kidogo. Just a
bit,
tiny bit.
Sliver, yeah.
Compared to now, yeah. Which era do you think Bambad? Because you're deep in the tech. So I'm just curious.
Yeah, I think I'd say now.
Definitely.
Hard to.
but the other one is nice. I was talking to my wife the other day, and you were just saying, I think as you get older,
Yeah.
you there's a tendency to over romanticize things. Like nostalgia gets more.
You're very right.
So like things which were maybe like a 5 out of 10 experience when you're older, they become so fun. They become like maybe 8.
It's
or
true.
10 out, 8 out of 10
man.
experience.
Yeah.
So I think those days were definitely like very colorful because there's nothing else we knew. But now I think there's opportunity for like rich experiences.
I think so too. You know, I remember Kitambo, you guys, we used to go visit our friends, you guys, with the bikes. I check it up about bike. My bike's quite get kina JP. You just know, this is Mark's bike. That's Steph. They're all here. Nowadays, guys on a chat.
Yeah.
What?
Or you go
know?
to the movie store, you get your CD, you're so excited after
Right?
you rent it. Now you just have Netflix, you're like, next.
I know.
Illusion of connection.
Illusion.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Mark believes that's a proper
That's
connection.
a proper connection.
It's a rich experience.
Yeah, if you would have experienced our time, probably he would say different, but it's okay, man.
It's all right.
I know what
Such
you
is
mean.
life. we're the last to breathe the dying
The last
breed.
man standing.
Mark, thanks.
Yeah,
man.
it's been amazing.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys. So,
Yeah.
what's the vice versa? What's now versus then? How would you
Now,
answer
bro,
that
you get that's a good question. I guess you're asking. So, where are the millennials? Where you guys chilling? Yeah, we're in the moti, bro. Just talking about life, reminiscing about the good old days. You know, passing that bottle around.
Yeah.
You know, just talking about kina Isa. You feel me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nakumbuka vile ile track nameless ilikuwa deadly, man.
Yeah,
oh
you
my
know.
God. That's what we do.
But just
man.
the reality of, being in touch with people in the real life.
Yeah.
I feel like it was more, people are more genuine, more real.
Bro, we used to
You'd
pick up.
experience people
You
better.
know how they
That's
say
true,
tunaenda
yeah.
kupiga story.
Yeah, it was kupiga story for real.
Mu make up
No
papers.
distractions.
Yeah.
People had your attention, back then.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like, oh, yeah. What'd you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. So it's kind of plastic, and that was real.
I like that.
That's
Plastic.
that's true.
Yeah.
Easy, Sasa, man. Mark, thanks for coming through, bro.
Asante.
Sasa, in the next hour, we have a lot of vibes, eh?
Yeah,
Stephanie
we
is,
do.
I know you have a lot of internet, crazy internet stories, some facts, and also a Kidogo topic.
For sure.
So we sorted, we have an hour of awesome music and vibes right now because Mark said he likes Black Coffee. I've got some Drive featuring David Guetta and Delilah.
Awesome.
Also, Kashmir Cat and Major Lazer are coming through in a bit with Miss You. Good evening, guys.
Timeless and greatest hits you love. Spice.